personnel over the next number of years. There are over 18,000 individuals who have applied to be members of the RCMP as of April the 1st of 2025, and we look forward to ensuring that our recruitment process is streamlined and one that meets the demands of today. Thank you.
Minister Diab, why does your department have so little capacity to investigate non-compliant, potential fraudulent cases, and what tangible things are you going to commit to today to improve that?
So we will be centralizing the investigation. We will be streamlining anyone that is flagged. We will be doing more reporting, and we will be information sharing with CBSA of any students that are not compliant or that are not currently students. I do want to remind people, though, the vast majority of international students are good people. They are here to contribute and get a good education. They contribute to our economy, to our local fabric. We are talking about a small percentage of students that were non-compliant. We accept the Auditor General's report. We will definitely do better, and we will be more consistent. It's the consistency. So the Auditor General did say we are doing these things. We just need to be more consistent and ensure that those files that are flagged are more followed up.
Est-ce que c'est possible de savoir comment vous allez vous y prendre pour détecter davantage de cas de fraude? Allez-vous investir davantage de ressources? Comment ça va marcher?
Alors, on va centraliser nos ressources, c'est la première chose pour les investigations. Aussi, on va travailler plus directement avec CBSA pour ceux qui leurs permis sont finis et n'ont pas renouvelés. On a déjà fait toutes ces choses. La question est ce qu'on doit faire plus, et on va le faire.
Is the budget for investigations being increased? Officials specifically said they only had enough money for 2,000 investigations a year of the 150,000 student visas that were flagged. So are you putting more money, yes or no, into these investigations?
So you're correct. The IRCC has was able to do 2,000 cases. I think the good news is, well, I don't know if it's good or bad, depending on where you look at it, but the student population numbers down by 60%. We've certainly curbed the numbers, which mean it'll curb that. The other thing that I said to you, these are small percentages of the cases of international students. Well over 94%, if not more, of international students have no issues whatsoever. And even in the other percentages, it's not that they are all problematic. The issue is consistency, to ensure that if there is something that the department realizes is that puts a flag on it so that it's sent to further be looked at.
When there has been a flag on things, 800 cases, according to the Auditor General, people had issues with the schools that they have brought forward. Hundreds of those people were then able to get additional immigration documents, including permanent residency. So that flag is clearly not working.
That's exactly why we need to improve on the system in order to ensure that we maintain the integrity of our immigration system, and it works much better.
Will there be additional investigation into those 800 people?
So the department has those that are problematic. Yes, anybody that is applying for an extension or anything like that, they're all reviewed.
But they haven't been reviewed. Those people got permanent residency after your own department deemed that they had fraudulently claimed things on their original application status. There has been no review of that.
At any point that there's an extension of any of the students that were under the direct student program, they are being reviewed.
Minister Lightbound, how do you explain that replacing the Phoenix pay system is going to cost $4.2 billion? And why hasn't the government released that figure? The Auditor General had to get it out of your department.
Yeah, so to be clear, from 2018 till 2023, to replace Phoenix to a new system which has been determined will be Dayforce, we've invested $280 million. 566 are budgeted going to 2027. As for the detailed costing of the transition, this is being worked on at the officials level right now.
Monsieur Lightbound, la VG s'inquiète quand même du rythme auquel on arrive à résorber les arriérés de paye de Phoenix. Donc, on s'apprête à importer dans Dayforce tous les problèmes de Phoenix.
Non,
Comment
c'est
on va régler
définitivement
ça?
pas, parce que s'il est clair qu'il faut que le système soit exempt d'erreurs avant qu'on fasse la transition, c'est pour ça qu'on y va vraiment étape par étape, avec par exemple la commission sur le nucléaire, ensuite Services partagés Canada, mon propre ministère, Travaux publics et approvisionnement, où on traite les arriérés dans ces ministères-là en priorité. Maintenant, quand on parle des chiffres, si on regarde au cours des 2 dernières années, il y a quand même une réduction de plus de 50% des arriérés de paye, puis je pense que définitivement, il reste du travail à faire. Définitivement, on peut faire mieux eu égard au système de paye, puis c'est ce que ce nouveau système vise à accomplir, c'est-à-dire une paye à temps avec un bon degré de justesse.
On your RCMP, your government has committed to contract policing. This is after multiple reports have recommended the opposite. Is this AG report not just more proof that the system as it is not working and that public safety across the country is at risk? Does this not ask for more reform of the RCMP?
What I think this calls for is for us to improve the recruitment process. For the RCMP, there's a real demand, as I had indicated, over 18,000 applications that are in process. We are condensing the recruitment process to now 6 months. We are ramping up federal policing, as you're aware, including additions of 1,000 new personnel directed towards federal policing. I believe that you could do both. We can do a very effective federal policing model and still do contract policing with the provinces. We will be commencing conversations with the province with respect to the renewal that's about to take place in 2032. It does require a number of different decision points, and we look forward to working with the provinces on the appropriate way forward.
This has been a known problem. You know, the commissioner, I know, it sees with it. It's not for a lack of trying. So what kind of accountability are you going to ask of him and of the RCMP, because they clearly are not getting this right?
Look, there's work to do. There was a recruitment plan that was released last Friday. I think it speaks to a lot of the improvements that RCMP is making. You know, one of the things that I've been pushing for is increased level of representation from Indigenous communities, particularly the Inuit, as we look at Arctic sovereignty as a central part of the work that the RCMP do. And of course, over the number of months coming forth, we will be recruiting the 1,000 new personnel that's so critically needed to strengthen federal policing.
But the Inuit policing program has struggled for years to even attract Inuit to enter the program, and even when they do go through the training program and go through DEPA, a lot of them report that there's no support after they've gone through the program. So what needs to change to attract more Inuit to become police officers?
Well, I think it's a really good question, and let me just say that 25 years ago we had a single cohort of Inuit police, RCMP, that were recruited, trained, and deployed into the community in the north. Many of them retired. Some of them are now actually working with us to ensure that there's greater recruitment. One of the central part of the work that I'm doing is to ensure that there's greater capacity in the north by Northerners, and it is something that we're absolutely resolved on fixing. As part of the recruitment process, I was up in Yellowknife 2 weeks ago. Our deputy minister was in Yukon. We will continue to be directly involved in the recruitment process, especially from the north, because we know that is a critical area where long-term sustainability of policing in the north will require Inuit to be very much part of the RCMP.
Mr. Diab, how can we stand there? Mr. Diab.
Sorry, can I just answer?
Sorry, recruitment's one thing, but how do you support them after they've gone through the program? You haven't talked about that at all.
Look, I appreciate the question, and you're right. Like, it is not just about recruitment; it's about retention. It's about development as well as promotion. And this is a matter that needs to be addressed at every step of the way. The first thing for me and the biggest priority is recruitment, and that is a subject of the Auditor General's report. And look, we are absolutely resolved on implementing the 6 recommendations. But the conversations are happening in terms of how you recruit, because it's not just about recruitment, it's about making sure that people can sustain their work within the RCMP and in fact work within their communities that very desperately need those supports.
Minister Diab, how can you repeat over and over again to Canadians that this is a small percentage of troubling cases, when right there it says 153,000 cases and your government was only able to investigate 4,000? What message does that send to Canadians who are concerned about the potentially tens of thousands of other problematic cases?
So we will improve and centralize investigation, and we will improve investigating those cases that are flagged. We thank the Auditor General for her report. As I said, it covers an 18-month period of a 4.5-year system that we are doing. Prior to this period, you have to remember international students as well as any non-permanent residents. There were no targets for them, and the system needed control, and that's exactly what was started in 2024 to control the numbers, to flag what is happening. Yes, go ahead.
What cases will you be able to investigate with this centralized system you're talking about?
So there will be a lot of efficiencies that will be had. This department is looking at all of that. There's also a modernization of digital modernization happening in the system that will help the efficiency of that, plus many other types of applications that people are making.
One last question. Over the 11,000 people in your department, how many are in a team investigating these cases? Can you give me a number?
We'll have to get back to you with that.
23,000 people, according to the Auditor General, said that they were here past their visa. Maybe Mr. Anandasangaree, you can answer this. It's about the CBSA.
I'd like to say something. I'm even less confident now in the system than I was after watching that. Here's the reality. The minister has had this report for some time. That's how Auditor General's reports go. The fact that she's coming out here and cannot come up with a few key, clear deliverables to change the system and ensure that all of these cases are being reviewed is crazy to me. But also, some of the things she said were just wrong. For example, she said that some of these permits were extended, but they got PR. That's not the same thing. To me, the fact that the minister had this report, did not do anything about it, and came with those lack of answers, it's going to make more Canadians have a lack of faith in the system. And frankly, it's going to tell Canadians that the people who are in control of the immigration system are the fraudsters, not the government. So we will be holding the minister to account on this with more proposals. Thank you.
Comment ça marche, ça? Premier arrivé, premier servi?
Oui, c'est exactement ça.
C'est exactement ça, hein? J'ai l'air arrivé. C'est ça, je propose ce que vous voudrez. Bon, bonjour. Parlant d'avions qui s'écrasent, d'abord, mes condoléances aux familles des pilotes. Le drame est grave, terrible. C'est pas comme si on en manquait ces temps-ci de situations dramatiques, donc nos pensées sont avec eux. Je veux vous parler brièvement du fait que c'est enfin commencé en Cour suprême. Et je veux juste nous remettre un peu dans le contexte. Rappelons-nous, 1982, Pierre-Éliott Trudeau met dans la Constitution canadienne d'abord une charte des droits qui, en regard de l'histoire, apparaît conçue dans le but express d'affaiblir l'expression d'une nation québécoise différente, et une clause dérogatoire qui, aujourd'hui, est l'objet d'une démarche qui vise un peu à masquer l'intention réelle des adversaires de la loi 21, qui est de compromettre la valeur québécoise de séparation entre l'Église et l'État, héritée des meilleurs moments de la Révolution tranquille. La clause dérogatoire que René Lévesque utilisait de façon systématique à l'époque est le seul rempart que possède l'Assemblée nationale du Québec pour se protéger contre une vision multiculturaliste canadienne qui ne permettrait pas, sans elle, de protéger efficacement la langue française et la valeur québécoise de laïcité des institutions de l'État. Le jugement qui viendra éventuellement sera de première importance et je ne doute pas que les Québécois sont déjà à l'écoute de ce qui se dit aujourd'hui. C'est assez distrayant par moments parce que dans tous les débats que nous connaissons, s'il est quelque chose où il y a un large consensus dans la population québécoise, c'est bien la laïcité des institutions de l'État et la protection de la langue française. Et la clause dérogatoire est un instrument fondamental pour arriver à ses intentions, à ses objectifs